Elise not showing her head just yet, alongside the other popular bands. This is usually the phase of the bands where we see the sets and the Aphelios' band away or traded off in this first round. And as I say it, there's the Elise ban from Hawks Gaming. The set band away from AXZ does mean that Hawks Gaming has their pick between Ornn and Aphelios. They look at the Rumble, however, also not banned from this game. We've seen a Rumble earlier in the, I believe, early last week. We did see a Rumble come through. Hawks Gaming thinking about locking that in. They will. And this leaves AXZ Gaming to take their picks. They have Ornn available. They have their pick of the AD, of the two prize ADs, looking at Aphelios first. And Hoglet looking at the Jarvan now. Jarvan has had also a decent amount of popularity in the LJL so far. And this does leave Hawks Gaming in the position of, do they lock the AD now? Do they risk having the AD pool pinched on them in the second half? And they actually lock in for the Senna in the bottom lane. Senna not terribly often seen as the blind pick with Misfortune still available, but Senna still somewhat popular, does have a lot of potential to keep the healing up in that lane, can be very sustainy, and also has a decent amount of just overall utility to help pull the fights around. And Tahm Kench going to be locked in as well to keep Senna safe in that bot lane. A few interesting hovers coming out from AXZ Gaming here, but they will lock Thresh away onto this bottom side. And now AXZ Gaming opting to pinch away the jungle pool. The Rumble can be flexed between top and mid here. Most Rumbles we have seen going towards the mid lane, but does have the flex opportunity, while Hawks Gaming will throw some bans towards the mid lane here. Now, if I were a betting man, I would say AXZ Gaming possibly could be looking to ban away Rek'Sai as well. But the Gragas, also another fair ban, pretty traditional early game junglers. A lot of combo potential. Hawks Gaming possibly looking at another mid lane ban, another LeBlanc ban, as we typically see. There it is. Now Hyde is forced to lock in, and this is where they have to show one or the other. They have to choose between showing their jungle and showing their mid lane. They will give Hawks Gaming the counter pick of one of the two. And the Orianna blind picked from AXZ. Orianna, a traditionally fairly safe laner, does have that high team fight potential, is a great combo tool with the Jarvan. You can put the ball onto the Jarvan, send them in deep, and you just have the pull-in potential. So it can be a good pick. We actually see the Xin Zhao locked in from Hawks Gaming, as well as the Ornn in the top lane. The Rumble being pushed into the mid lane, and Xin Zhao, also a champion that is not often, or not terribly often picked, but does have that early fighting potential, can scrap with Jarvan very well if he decides to play aggressive. Serves a similar purpose to the Rek'Sai in most games. We have seen one Xin Zhao prior, but I do believe that the Rek'Sai was banned away in that game. And the Aatrox will be locked in here for the top lane. And now the jungle will actually be a point of attention, as the mid lane 2v2 on the side of Hawks Gaming is a bit stronger. So if they go for these 2v2 skirmishes in the mid lane, they will have that option. But when it comes to the top lane, Jarvan and Aatrox can easily take a lot of, or put a lot of pressure and have a lot of like kill combos that they can pull off on members of Hawks Gaming. So the different points of pressure for this game we'll have to see who ends up playing it better. And now on the bottom side, fairly safe lanes, not exactly a whole lot of potential for being blown wide open. Senna, a traditionally very safe laner, does have the glacial augment, but typically is not out damaging Set. Both of them as carries, just waiting, biding their time, trying to farm up a bit, waiting until their first few items. And Tussle will be looking, of course, to find fights early, try and just bully that Jarvan away from wherever he can.
さあ始まりました LJL2020 スプリングスプリットウィーク2ゲーム8アクシズ VS 福岡ソフトバンクホークスゲーミングの試合スタートです。
Alrighty, and as we load in here, you can see pretty traditional bands, pretty traditional runes from both sides. Aftershock being taken on Dasher in the top lane is a little bit different from what we've seen the Ornn take before. Last time we did see this matchup, we did see the Grasp of the Undying. Although we do see on the Xin Zhao, we do see on the Xin Zhao Conqueror instead of Hail of Blades. A lot of pretty popular on the Hail of Blades for early scrapping. You get that early knockup open to you, and it's really easy just to get through the hits. So that you have the knockup, you can get that early burst damage out. But the Conqueror does offer potential for fighting longer fights, dragging the engages out in case they end up running longer, and allowing him to be a better frontliner.
なるほど、ありがとうございます。そのレーンの状況を良くしていくっていうところなんですけれども、結構そのジャングラーにこういう動きをしてくれとか、そういう仕事っていうのはもしかしたらそのゲームドラフト終わった時に話はされましたか？
아무래도 라인 주도권이 있는 쪽이 많다 보니까 그걸 활용해서 게임을 풀어나가자라고 얘기해줬습니다.
Alrighty, and as we load up here onto the rift, looks like both junglers will be starting towards their top side. Pooh enjoying himself a bit on the Tom Kench. Now the potential for early game conflict is somewhat high, with both junglers starting on the top side and both junglers enjoying their early gank potential. Hoglet and Tussle will both kind of be looking for early scrapping. Tussle does have the opportunity to kind of run into Hoglet's jungle, check out what's what, and scrap with him if he finds him. While Hoglet does have very lethal lane potential with the traditional EQ ganks. And Dasher, without having Grasp of the Undying, still making a good trade back onto Unyan here. Unyan moving a little bit too far into that minion wave. We do actually see an untraditional start. Ornn opting for just a refill pot in lane. He did not opt to take any Doran's shields or anything like that in the early game. Hoglet sneaking into the bush here with the EQ, waiting on his next combo. It doesn't look like Hawks Gaming knows he's here, and they're going to walk forward. Is going to be able to dodge the hook from Corporal with the eat. The EQ, Pooh flashing into it, actually will get knocked up by it, but the teleport coming out from Ramune will be there to chase down Hyde back, and he will find first blood onto the Aphelios. Very quick responses from the side of Hawks Gaming will turn that gank very quickly. A good EQ combo from Hoglet finds its way onto Pooh after the flash, but what ends up happening afterwards is once they are too deep in, Ramune with the teleport does mean that Hyde is just far too deep to try and get away. Watch this one more time. So the EQ from Hoglet going backwards. The Flay pulls it out. Hoglet actually commits his flash for the EQ to make sure he gets a knock-up onto Pooh. Once Tussle shows up, Hyde is forced to flash, and Ramune is able to get the move speed, use that Flame Spitter just to burn down Hyde as he runs him back towards his turret.
これでミッドレーンの状況がこのリコール以降変わっていくと思います。ランブルがフリーで動ける時間がここから来ると思います。
We do see once again the teleport on Garairu in the top or in the mid lane, as well as phase rush, and this is a little bit of an LJL special. They do enjoy a lot of the phase rush. They like the extra mobility. Not exactly traditional for Orianna. A lot of them typically opting for Airy just for the poke in lane, but having that extra mobility, making sure you can get the ball where it needs to be, can be the difference in team fights. And with an early advantage for Honey in this bot lane, does mean an extra Doran's Blade, but Senna is susceptible to the early game somewhat being watered down, as you do have to opt for that early tier, which doesn't offer a whole lot of combat, or which doesn't offer combat stats for any early backs, but an extra Doran's Blade doesn't hurt. Now it looks like AXZ Gaming is looking towards this Drake as a potential opportunity. Hoglet already starting it up, wants to drag it out, but will be dragging it right onto a ward. Doesn't seem like Hawks Gaming is in a position to contest, however, as the members of AXZ are already moving up to secure the Infernal Drake for them. A teleport coming out from AXZ Gaming just to ensure that it's there. Garairu mostly teleporting the lane, but makes it close enough just to deter any advances from Hawks Gaming. And now, AXZ finds themselves one Infernal Drake, does lose first blood, but the Infernal Drake doesn't hurt by any means. Asher doing his best just to stay in competition in this lane. Unyan trying to pour the pressure on. Now for Tussle in the jungle, he does have a small CS lead. Oh, and as I say that, Corporal lands a good hook onto Honey, but Pooh able to eat him up and spit him back out into safety. W landing onto Hyde means that he will get hit by the Glacial Augment, but nothing too terrible coming out of that one. A good hook find from Corporal, but you do see the strength of Tom Kench in this lane, the safety he provides, just so that you make any mistakes, you know, Pooh's got you. Pooh loves his honey, as we all know from our children's history or children's literature. Pooh does love his honey, happy to eat him up.
そしてダッシャーがかなりミッド付近に寄った動き見せています。
そうですね、先ほどからちょっと気になってはいたんですが、トップレーンの CS 差
There is something to be said about the rumblies in Pooh's tummy being the sweet taste of honey.
いうのが非常に素晴らしいと思いますね。
Though you typically don't think of a catfish eating Senna as the rumblies in Pooh's tummy.
上がってきますから、CS の差をつけていくということにはなると思いますが、ただこの状況でダッシャー選手がフリーで動ける状況をウニャ選手作ってしまうと。
But we do see once again as we kind of return to the neutral state, Garairu did get a little bit of a CS lead out of Ramune burning that early teleport into that bottom lane. Although he did get the first blood, Garairu doing his best to just answer with a small CS lead as Hoglet immediately putting up for this Rift Herald. You can see AXZ very mobile on the map here as they already are grouping as 4 for this Rift Herald. Hawks Gaming looking like they want to contest, and the ult is going to pull Ramune from walking a little bit too far, steps onto the trap, and that is going to be the trap sprung from Garairu, comboed up and spit back and sat down before he is able to get the equalizer down and try and turn any kind of a team fight. Now Hoglet, moving immediately towards his top lane, dropping that down, will try to make a repeat performance of last game, just grouping members around, knocking down these early turrets. It's going to be a good chunk of gold over to the side of AXZ Gaming. Now, split between a few members doesn't mean that any of them will have a huge gold spike, but will attribute for a small gold advantage.
SHG 側のAD キャリーハニー選手のサマナースペルがテレポートであることということを考えた上での仕掛けになっていると思いますね。
Now, with Honey spending his time in that mid lane, doesn't mean that he's picking up any more CS than Hyde currently is. He does have a small CS lead, but Wave in a decent position for the side of AXZ Gaming. Honey just picking up some extra farm everywhere around the map that he can.
ゴールド的にアドバンテージというのは開いてはいないですが、ただこの構成、オリアナとアフェリオスを使う集団戦の構成で序盤からゴールドの差がついていないということの方が、よりアドバンテージ。
They do have another wave to pick up as they show here. First item completion already for Garairu, having the highest CS, or having among the highest CS this game. But also finding the assist with that Ori ult. Now, one thing to note is that while we do see Rumble mids in the past have historically been the style of the LCK or the LPL uses of Rumble mid, where taking the Predator, being able to move around the map with that ulti, that team fight tool. Ramune opting for the Comet in the mid lane for the little extra lane pressure. The Ocean Soul or the Ocean Drake spawning up here, and you can see AXZ playing very aggressively for these Drakes is already showing Hoglet here. Tussle looking around, seeing if he wants to fight anything out, but Unyan is already here, walking straight down. Dasher trying to come down as well, but AXZ has 5 members here. They're saying, we're ready for a fight. This is our Drake, and we're going to take it. As Unyan is going to be deep in, the Blast Cone sending him far in. Tussle going to be eaten up and spit back out as Unyan is pulled away by his support. The Moonlight Vigil will only land his way onto Dasher. The Call of the Forge God coming in. The Equalizer going to miss out, but just zoned for now. AXZ can look for the re-engage here. Not too much expended on their end as Hawks Gaming, just multiple ults not finding their mark exactly where they need to, means that they'll have to play this fight out very carefully. Now Dasher getting hooked in, the Shockwave getting multiple members as Pooh is the first one to go down. Unyan finds his kill onto Tussle as well, and that is going to be the Drake over to AXZ Gaming after they find their way in one member at a time. Corporal finding a good hook onto Dasher opens that fight wide open for them.
さらにその前段階でも彼が集団戦の局面を変えてるんですよね。ここリプレイでしっかり見ていきたいですね。
And we'll watch this one more time. Unyan takes the blast cone over into Tussle, forces out the eat, but forces out the lantern for himself. As Hyde over the wall commits the moonlight visual, misses the most of the marks, but Dasher commits the ult. Ramune just a little bit too early on the ult, doesn't get it under the knockup of Garairu, and isn't able to get a lot of that damage out. While they're looking for a re-engage here, Corporal finds a good hook onto Dasher and pulls him in. The shockwave hitting multiple members, followed up by the EQ combo, means that AXZ has just this quick 1-2 punch of just multiple knockups, and a large chunk of damage coming out from that shockwave. It's great, and you can see the team fighting potential of AXZ here with the Orianna, with the Jarvan. You have decent engage alongside a really good follow-up from the command shockwave, and it didn't feel like Hawks Gaming were able to use their team fighting tools to use them as efficiently.
この段階からまさか集団戦で圧倒的なリードを作るというのはちょっと想定外でしたね。
それほどまでにこのガリアルの使う Orianna.
You can see now a 30 CS lead, nearly 40 CS on Garairu over Ramune in the mid lane. Ramune not able to complete his first item yet. And we do see ults committed again for Garairu. This time the ult combo working out, but will be pulled away in time by the Thresh Lantern. Ramune and Tussle both very low at the end of that exchange, will be forced to back off here. And that'll be a decent amount of lane clear gone from the side of Hawks Gaming if they decide to pressure up this mid lane turret. But with the Herald spawning in 15 seconds and AXZ's commitment towards aggressive objective taking, will most likely be their next target. You can see pings coming out, already going onto it. They have potential to take this top lane turret as well. Orianna going up there to try and secure some of the gold. Barely not going to be able to make it, but their target is, of course, the Rift Herald. Dasher taking his time to get some CS in the bot side, as it doesn't look like any amount of contest from the side of Hawks Gaming. Although they will need to reconvene in this mid lane, as more than likely the first spot it will be going is towards that mid lane, trying to knock down the next turret, opening up the map just a bit further. It looks like Hoglet will be taking a reset before he just goes for anything too crazy.
クラウドドレイクは1分40秒。3つ目のドレイク取れればアクシズ3つ目のドレイク。
And let's take, and now that we kind of have a lull again, you know, next objective not coming up for about a minute 20, you can see the gold advantage slowly starting to build up for the side of AXZ Gaming. But when it comes to who has the gold, Senna has a lot of the gold lead over the Aphelios. Not able to complete his first item yet. Aphelios is slipping a little bit behind. However, you do have on the Orianna such a gold lead that the ult damage may be enough to just, you do have that shockwave damage that may be enough to start one-shotting some of these high-end carries that Hawks Gaming has.
そしてドレイクまでは1分を切っています。
And on the side of Hawks Gaming, the Xin Zhao pick not exactly putting up the most amount of pressure. With the Warrior enchantment means that it is a little bit harder for Tussle to be that frontline tank. The Grand Challenge does offer some resistances and will block a lot of the damage from other members, but how long can he survive in there, especially when most of the time he will be issuing that challenge against the likes of Unyan, who is running into his face, ready to scrap, and has a 2-level lead over him. Now the ward dance around this mid lane. The Cloud Drake is up. If AXZ decides to go for it, looks like they will be dropping the Rift Herald to give themselves some pressure towards that objective. They let it go so that they can immediately start onto this Cloud Drake, pushing themselves towards the Soul. The charge will go off, but not going to knock down the mid lane turret in its entirety, but will give them the pressure they need and the space they need for the Cloud Drake.
これでクラウドソロに一気に王手がかかりましたね。次のドレイクではもう SHG としては渡す判断はできないです。
かなりテンポよく取っているので、アクシズとしては何回もチャンスがある形になりますね。
そうですね。
And we'll sort of return once again to the neutral position. Hawks Gaming opting to just pick up the gold in their jungle as it comes to them. Tussle picking up the blue buff. Not exactly the most prominent user of blue buff. Trades it off for a Gromp from Ramune.
これによってウェーブのコントロールを自分たちのテンポに握ろうという判断ですね。
And the mid lane turret not being knocked down entirely. You have to wonder what AXZ Gaming's play will be. It doesn't seem like they're ready to pressure too insanely around objectives until they're grouped as 5. But this is at the point where now Hawks Gaming, if they know that AXZ Gaming wants to go for this mid lane turret, they know they want to keep opening up the map and just knock down that last outer turret. Hawks Gaming does have the tools to make them work for it, however, and has a lot of tools where once they get everyone in one lane and they can get that combo off between the Call of the Forge God and the Equalizer, they have the potential to start some pretty deadly fights. And AXZ Gaming seems to know that. Instead, just opting to clear lanes out for now, waiting for the next objective, baiting them into fights around objectives rather than just trying to start scrapping.
このウィニャンの使うエイトロックスが有利を取っていると。
ブラックリーも完成しますし、100% ウィニャン選手が勝てると思いますね。
さあ、そうなるとこのミッドレーンでオブジェクトを取る、ミッドのアウターターを取るというのはかなり至難の技と言えそうです。
Another note is that on the side of Hawks Gaming, while you do have the engage tools that you don't have to hard commit to the engage, the odd man out is the Xin Zhao, who does have to hard engage to follow up on the likes of the Call of the Forge God. And you do have that tool that if it hits will be able to disrupt multiple members, but the hard part is once Tussle goes in and is committed like that, eating a shockwave can quickly melt down the Xin Zhao, especially with no magic resist to speak of in Tussle's build just yet. Garairu does have kind of agency to knock out members of Soft Hawks Gaming with that ult whenever he pleases.
テンポを変えたか、タッスルはトップレーン。対するホグレットはボットレーンサイド。相手のレッドバフのスティールを行っています。
Hoglet securing away some of the camps of Hawks Gaming, picking himself a little bit of extra gold up. The wave's in good position. Hyde might be looking to just shove more lanes under turret. Rotate up that top lane, pushing against them for now. Hoglet maybe finding himself in a bit of trouble, but Corporal's there with the lantern, and Unyan now is here to try and pull Tussle aside, but is able to get out of there before the Chains of Corruption are able to yank him back in. And here, Unyan going in again now onto Dasher. Hoglet ready to follow up if he needs it, but they decide to not opt into the 2v2. Knowing those kinds of scraps is exactly what Xin Zhao was looking for. And now top lane pushing against Hawks Gaming. They will have to answer that soon, but it becomes somewhat deadly to answer that when you have to worry about the mid lane pressure. The mid lane doesn't have a whole lot of HP, so answering side lanes at this point could mean losing a turret. They have to worry about that, and they have to play accordingly. And now 30 seconds on this Cloud Drake. With the wave pushing against them in the top lane, they will be sacrificing that wave. It looks like they will be opting for vision security on this Drake, knowing that AXZ Gaming will be happy to move in for that for Soul. Now the Cloud Soul actually does offer a bit for Unyan and some for Orianna, so that she can keep moving around the fights post the shockwave. The Moonlight Vigil also a beneficiary of the ult CDR and slightly the move speed buff. If Aphelios is forced to throw that ulti from a longer range,
ドレンのウェーブ
will get the movement speed buff to try and get close enough that he's able to follow up on whichever weapons he gets the Moonlit Vigil benefit from.
ウーニャはまだボットレーンのウェーブをプッシュしている状況です。どうするか。
And now, AXZ Gaming encroaching in, taking away some of the vision. They find themselves in a decent position where they have this small gap that they are able to play in, where coming out of the jungle in that lane, they have this small pocket of shadows that they're able to walk through. Hawks Gaming now looking to go challenge that as they move in towards the mid lane. Unyan on the bottom side of this fight means that they will have themselves cut off. They look down towards Unyan, but with him on the flank, this fight can go one of two ways for Hawks Gaming. Tussle goes in onto Garaidu. Garaidu stepping too far forward, does have to commit his flash. The equalizer burning him down on the backside. Tussle continuing his fight in as Dasher's trying to help. Unyan on the bottom side trying to deal with the bot lane combo as he might be able to get Honey down. He has to worry. Flashing away, the W missing from Honey doesn't mean anything. But as far as Willie, he misses the W. Unyan is still not able to find that kill. AXZ picks up a kill in the turret. Now moving towards the Drake, or excuse me, towards the Baron. They didn't get the Cloud Drake just yet. Tussle opting to solo that so they don't get the soul. But the vision control for AXZ is moving towards that top side. Garaidu stepped a little bit too far forward there, and Tussle hard engages here. We'll watch it one more time. Now you can see the flash from Tussle onto Garaidu. Garaidu flashes away, but the equalizer landing on top of both carries there and burning them down. Hoglet just zoning away with the Cataclysm, using the EQ to just peel members off, as he now is forced to flash away, and multiple members of Soft Hawks Gaming have low HP, but are just able to keep the key members of AXZ Gaming from approaching them. The equalizer beautifully placed onto Hyde and Garaidu to just push them away from the fight, not giving them the opportunity to pull the fight, or to get the damage out to pull the fight back into their favor. With the hard engage onto Garaidu, he wasn't able to get the shockwave off as well that fight, which means that large team fight tool that they were capitalizing on earlier wasn't able to get any value. Now on the side of Hawks Gaming, that kind of decisive decision making around these objective fights can be what wins them the game. If AXZ plays too passively, Tussle is showing that he is ready to fight, he is ready to scrap, and he's not afraid to make those calls. Now Hoglet might be wandering it a little bit too deep as Tussle goes deep onto Hyde. The Call of the Forge God landing on multiple members, as well as, the Shockwave doing so much damage to Honey will force him off, but Garaidu will lose his life for it. Trying to land the EQ, the Cataclysm not landing in time before Hoglet is shot out of the skies. And that is going to be Baron for Soft Hawks Gaming as they find themselves another fight win. Beautiful fight from the side of Soft Hawks Gaming. It felt like AXZ were just walking a little bit too far into where they didn't need to be poking their heads, and Tussle immediately running past Hoglet straight onto Hyde, knowing he doesn't have summoner spells available to him, just says, you, me, this is a challenge, this is my fight that you want. And once he's all the way in, Hyde is forced to run away, but without many options available to him. Watch, Tussle all the way in here onto him. Dasher lands multiple members knocked up with the ult. Honey's ult to follow, and the Rumble ulti just burning them down as they're CC'd, they're slowed, and they cannot escape. The Shockwave does almost get Honey low enough, but at that point, you're walking too far forward to try and get that damage off. And this is Hawks Gaming now pushing towards the lead here. They don't have the objective lead. They still have to worry about soul threaten. But with these decisive fights that they're able to be taking, AXZ really needs to reconsider how aggressively they play towards these Drakes and just trying to play around swift decision making and trying to play around blitzkrieging these objectives. They need to know that they're not going to suffer these hard engages from Hawks Gaming. Now with Baron available to them, they will be knocking down the mid lane turret of their own. Dasher immediately going for the call of the Forge God, trying to find an engage, but nothing just yet. Now they just have Baron to kind of let the caddy minions do the damage they need to. Looks like Hawks Gaming will be backing off for the most part. Doesn't want to get caught out in the enemy jungle. And Unyan might be finding himself in a troublesome position. Tussle moving forward here. The Abyssal Voyage will carry someone in, but Pooh actually shows up solo there, only to burn Unyan's flash. They now have another wave pushing onto this tier 1 in the bottom side. Now Hawks Gaming pressuring down the next turret available to him. Ramune zoning away the Jarvan from the jungle here. And with that turret taking, they have 15 seconds coming up for this Cloud Drake. They will be backing off just to keep that soul denied from AXZ Gaming. Hoglet doesn't look like he's ready to give it up just yet, but 3 levels down on Tussle. He will have a hard time trying to find that way in. GA available to Tussle as well, so he knows he can go for these commits. He has Flash available to him again to just make those swift decisions, make those swift all-in calls. And it looks like they will not be able to contest this Cloud Drake. Another Drake going over to Hawks Gaming, keeping AXZ away from that soul for now. Hawks Gaming opting in this scenario not to use the Baron as aggressively for turrets. They take 2, they take some, just whatever is free, whatever is available to them, but they don't opt to hard commit for this top side because they know they have to play for this Cloud Soul on the bottom end of the map. They cannot let that fall to AXZ. They refuse to move the game towards where Baron and Elder are going to be up. So they take the 2 turrets on the mid and bottom side, then they just retreat to the Drake. Now they can look for this top lane turret. You can see them already grouping up to this top side, securing vision for the next Baron when it comes up, as well as knocking down this top lane turret that is yet to be taken. Hoglet finding his way onto Dasher. Members of AXZ are here in force, but Dasher has Flash available to him to try and get out of that one. And you can see here, just the CS lead from Honey is a full item advantage over Hyde in this game. Hyde not able to get in for the damage he needs to in these fights means that multiple assists are going over to Honey, meaning more gold, cheaper items as well on the Senna is just skyrocketing her damage ahead at the moment, while also the utility that Senna offers keeping Tussle alive when he's going deep into these fights. Now Dasher and Unyan on the bottom end of this map, both with teleport available. As the rest of the game leans towards this top lane turret, it does seem that Hawks Gaming will be taking a reset here. With 1 minute on Baron, resetting wards, getting your buys in so that you have the opportunity to take the Baron when it presents itself. Now Garairu with the CS lead, you can see staying competitive in items to Rumble on the mid lane, who has 4 kills. And although Garairu is not able to pick up the same amount of kills as the Rumble, you do have the items to stay in contention with him. Now with the Morellonomicon on both mid laners, you do have the double pen open. Possibly not the gold efficiency, but Still good tools for both of them to have. For the Rumble, he is able to delay the Zanya's buy, as he hasn't had any reason really to burn the stopwatch cooldown. Honey forced to flash away as he walks a little bit too close to the members of AXZ Gaming. Unyan, being the big scary demon man, walks in, says Honey, hey, you probably shouldn't be here.
このタイミングアクシズすべてのサモナースペルが上がることになります。バロンはアップ。クラウドドレイクは1分半です。
Sort of returning to this neutral lull, Hawks Gaming will have a decision to make soon. With Cloud Drake coming up in 1 minute and 20, they will have to choose whether they're opting for the second Baron and whether they're trying to dedicate vision for that objective, or if they want to make sure that they have the vision for this Cloud Drake to keep AXZ away from that soul opportunity. Multiple Cloud Drakes are actually very helpful for Hawks Gaming when you're relying on these team fight ultis.
ただウイニャンの合流は間に合いそうですね。さらにはタッスル選手の位置ワードで映ってるんですよね。これでは仕掛けられない。
Now, the mid lane dance of trying to fetch enough mid lane priority that you're able to go for either of these objectives is kind of the name of the game for now. Neither team looking for an engage just yet. Although the onus may be on Hawks Gaming to make the decision of whether they want second Baron or whether they want to deny Cloud Soul. Hoglet, a little bit deep into this Baron pit, is already there to put up vision, but is finding himself a nice flank and is unseen by the members of Hawks Gaming, who are now walking down towards this Drake. No vision on either side, so both of them kind of playing this game of cat and mouse. Who's going to look first? And the Call of the Forge God will be the first look as Tussle flies in onto Garaidu, using the ult to pseudo-insect him forward, but he will commit flash to get out of there. Now, Hoglet, deep into the members of Hawks Gaming. The fight breaks out and the equalizer burning down multiple members. Hyde and Garaidu blinking HP bars on the back end of this fight as Hawks Gaming finds their fight win. Has Honey walking forward, using the Zanyas to stay alive, now realizing that he has a pixel perfect HP left. No members falling from Hawks Gaming as they find 4 across this fight. Blinking health bars all the way across, but the major amount of damage from Ramune on the Rumble, burning Garaidu and Hyde up towards the top end of that fight, zoning them so far from the damage dealing positions that they need to be in. And it looks like they will be opting for both here, Baron and the Cloud Drake. Not opting to pressure down this mid lane turret, saying we can get the objectives off the map first, then we'll go for more turrets. You can see the strength of Dasher on that engage, along with Tussle looking for that flank. Both junglers opting for flanking positions here, and Tussle, because he has Dasher's ability to utilize the Call of the Forge God and engage, push the fight backwards, Tussle was closer for the flank play than Hoglet was. Although Hoglet comes in here, Ramune's ulti burns down so hard on the members of AXZ, and you can see their carries zoned towards the top side while Tussle, Pooh, and Honey have free firing on Hoglet in the bottom end of this map. Honey narrowly following from Hyde's turret, but not going down means that one clean fight later, they find themselves with both objectives and the dominant position in this game as now they look towards this top end of the map. A little bit of buffering here from the stream, but as we look back, Dasher had to flash for something. I believe AXZ Gaming were trying to see if they could find a free engage on them, but they are losing turrets on this top end of the map as now they're trying to get in a position where they can answer. will cost them the turret as Tussle goes all in onto Garaidu, stepping up a little bit too far forward again. The equalizer not going to find as much damage this time around, and now Hoglet with the re-engage onto Tussle just to lock him up. The Call of the Forge God coming in, and Dasher is soloing Aphelios on the side. That is going to be 3 falling from AXZ Gaming. Hoglet limping away, getting sniped down by the Senna, and that is going to be Hawks Gaming taking this game. Even without the equalizer, throwing the fights and separating them and kind of driving that spike through, with Garaidu stepping just a little bit too far forward, Tussle was always ready to take that engage, and just the quick actions taken by Garaidu the quick actions taken by Tussle onto Garaidu. There were just multiple times where he was not able to get that ulti off and deal the damage that he needed to. Good stuff to both teams for this game. That is going to be it for day 2 of week 2 of the LJL rebroadcast with me, your host, Dr. No. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's broadcast. I will be back next week on Tuesday, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time for week 3 of the LJL. If you guys have enjoyed the content so far, feel free to follow. You can also follow my Twitter @_DrNo_. If you would like, I tweet when I'm going live. I will also be tweeting some other content I'll be putting up. And also look out on there. I will be uploading the VODs of week 1 day 2, as well as all of the week 2 VODs for each game. There will also be some other content coming down the pipeline, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. But for now, I will be signing off. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will hopefully see you guys next week.